The Systems Leader by Robert E. Siegel, rewritten audio script. The Systems Leader. Every year, hundreds of thousands of visitors flock to the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Germany to admire a brand that has become a global symbol of engineering excellence. With top talent and loyal customers, the company seems like a fortress of lasting success. But behind the scenes, its leaders face incredibly hard choices. They're under pressure to protect short-term profits while simultaneously building the electric vehicles of the future, navigating a complex software-driven world and adapting to a rapidly changing industry. This kind of pressure hits leaders at every level, in every company. It comes from all sides: your boss, your investors, your employees, and the world at large, and the demands often directly conflict with one another. Many leaders sense this constant tension, but they lack a clear framework for how to manage it. In this guide, you'll explore a practical framework for handling 5 of the most common pressures modern leaders face. We'll look at balancing short-term execution with long-term innovation, showing strength while staying empathetic, focusing on internal needs while remaining aware of the external world, operating globally while honoring local realities, and pushing for results while holding on to a deeper purpose. Leading used to feel challenging. Now it can feel almost impossible. If you're responsible for anything meaningful in an organization today, you're likely facing more stress, uncertainty, and conflicting expectations than ever before. What makes it so tough isn't just the sheer amount of pressure, it's how much of it pulls in opposite directions. Start with the basics. You know what the business needs for the future, but you still have to hit your numbers this quarter. Ignore the future and your business slowly fades away. Ignore the present, and you could lose your job before that future has a chance to arrive. And that's just one of many tensions. Your team might want you to show vulnerability and empathy, while your investors demand aggressive action. Customers want constant innovation, but not if it means the quality of service drops. The forces behind this pressure aren't slowing down. Technology is moving faster than most people can adapt. Economic swings, political instability, and a social media landscape where one mistake can go viral in minutes all add to the complexity. With pressure this intense, it's no surprise that some leaders crack, indulging in attention-seeking behavior, shifting blame, or chasing flashy trends. But those actions do real damage to reputations, companies, and trust. So what's the alternative? Some leaders choose a different path. They learn to hold competing goals in balance and make progress even when tensions are high. These are systems leaders. Systems leaders take on the challenge of meeting short-term demands while laying the groundwork for lasting change. They aren't superheroes. They are consistent practitioners who build trust and make thoughtful decisions under pressure. Let's explore the 5 common pressures they manage. Tension 1. Execution versus innovation. In 2018 and 2019, 2 Boeing 737 MAX planes crashed, killing 346 people. The disasters led to a huge loss of trust in what was once one of the world's most respected engineering companies. While technical failures were involved, a deeper cause stood out: a shift in leadership priorities. Long-term safety and engineering excellence had been pushed aside in favor of hitting deadlines, cutting costs, and pleasing investors. This is what happens when short-term execution crushes long-term innovation and quality. Balancing execution and innovation is one of the hardest acts in leadership. You have to run the core business efficiently while also taking smart risks to build what's next. Many companies try to solve this by separating the two functions. Operations people focus on delivering results today. Innovation teams chase new ideas for tomorrow. But this divide often leads to tribalism. Innovators see operators as rigid, and operators see innovators as impractical. Systems leaders don't delegate this tension. They step right into it. Take Pedro Earp, former Chief Disruptive Growth Officer at AB InBev. He knew the company was great at growing huge brands like Budweiser, but needed to get better at creating and scaling new ideas. His role wasn't to shield the innovation teams from the rest of the company. It was to spread innovative thinking until it became everyone's responsibility. Systems leaders also take ownership of the financial trade-offs, engaging directly with capital decisions instead of just delegating them to the finance team. They build the habit of thinking on multiple time horizons at once. Tension 2. Strength versus empathy. When Revathi Advaithi took over as CEO of the manufacturing company Flex, she faced a familiar pressure: how to drive performance while still showing care for her people. Her company had to embrace advanced technologies to stay competitive, which put many jobs at risk. Instead of treating reskilling as someone else's problem, she made it a core responsibility, investing in training for tens of thousands of employees to help them adapt and thrive. Her goal wasn't to avoid hard changes, but to carry them out without leaving people behind. Strong leadership and empathy don't have to be opposites. Systems leaders reject that false choice. They set high standards and expect results, but they also treat people as long-term assets. They see retraining not as a cost, but as an investment that boosts morale, protects valuable knowledge, and often helps the bottom line. In many cases, it's actually cheaper to reskill a current employee than to hire someone new. This mindset also applies to how organizations are designed, balancing the need for flexibility with the need for loyalty. Leaders like Kathy Mozzarella at the company Graybar succeed because they are consistent. They treat people with dignity while still making tough calls. They prove that it's possible to be ambitious and human at the same time. This approach is especially critical in a crisis. It's easy to cut training budgets or delay tough conversations, but leaders who hold on to both accountability and care build teams that are resilient and ready for whatever comes next. Tension 3. Internal versus external focus. Early in his career at Intel, the author was part of a group focused on emerging tech and startup investments, a very external-facing role. But his boss often sent him to work with internal product teams. These assignments didn't help his team's immediate metrics, but they built crucial trust and exposed him to the realities of the core business. By earning credibility on the inside, his external insights gained more traction. He learned the goal wasn't to choose one focus, but to strengthen both. Systems leaders don't pick between internal and external demands. They engage with both, shifting their attention as needed. One tool that helps is the influence map. It's a visual layout of your entire ecosystem. Partners, suppliers, customers, regulators, and competitors. It shows who matters most, where power is shifting, and where relationships need attention. Systems leaders revisit these maps regularly to decide where to invest their time. Naomi Allen, the CEO of Brightline, leads this way. She regularly steps back to assess how she's spending her time. Is it externally on partnerships and growth, or internally on team performance and morale? During one phase, she focused on retaining key employees. In another, she prioritized board engagement to reshape strategy. Instead of chasing a perfect static balance, she stays responsive to the system's needs. Systems leaders recognize that the best solutions often live in the space between the internal and external worlds. Tension 4. Global versus local. When John Donahoe became CEO of Nike in 2020, he stepped into a perfect storm of disrupted supply chains and fierce competition. One of his toughest challenges was managing Nike's complex relationship with China. While activists pushed for the company to pull out over human rights issues, Donahoe stood firm. China wasn't just a supplier. It was one of Nike's biggest and fastest-growing markets. He made it clear that Nike was a brand from America for the world, committed to staying engaged while operating in line with its values. This kind of geographic pressure is everywhere now. Global markets offer huge opportunities, but also bring volatility and cultural complexity. Systems leaders operate within this messiness. François-Henri Pinault, head of the luxury group Kering, put it perfectly. We don't want to be different from one country to another, but we need to be relevant in each country. That's why Gucci delivers the same premium product worldwide but adapts its marketing to fit each local culture. This mindset doesn't happen by accident. Systems leaders build it by hiring local talent, distributing authority, and staying open to multiple perspectives. They know which decisions must stay centralized, like sustainability goals, and which are better handled on the ground. Tension 5. Results versus purpose. What kind of leader do people respect when the stakes are high? In today's climate, shouting the loudest often gets the most attention. But systems leaders lead with clarity of purpose and a deep sense of responsibility. They practice what can be called statesmanship. Jim Fish, the CEO of Waste Management, showed this kind of restraint during the pandemic. While other leaders made loud declarations about vaccine mandates, Fish encouraged vaccination but ultimately left the decision to his employees. His choice upset some people, but it reflected a longer view of leadership. He prioritized the trust he'd built across his large, distributed workforce over scoring political points. Statesmanship means doing what's right for the long-term health of the organization, even when there's no easy win. When the company Cloudflare decided to block extremist websites from its platform, its leaders didn't present themselves as heroes. They explained their reasoning plainly, acknowledged the risks and complexities of their power, and took responsibility for their decision. That seriousness, not ego or ideology, guided their choice. The key is to set your principles in advance. That way, when the pressure hits, you have a framework for how to act, guided by consistency, trust, and purpose. The main takeaway from the systems leader is that modern leadership is defined by managing, not eliminating, the constant tensions that pull us in opposing directions. Systems leaders don't seek a perfect stress-free balance.